Right, welcome. More Joker Folie Deux news. So, Variety have it reported that it's looking like it's going to lose about $150 million to $200 million in its theatrical run. They've also stated, it's come out that actually Joker 2 is going to be available on streaming by next week or the weekend after. I think it's either the 26th or the 29th, which is, wow. Yeah, wow, that's crazy, hey? That's madness. This is Warner Brothers wanting to get it out of theatres ASAP. Because there's just no point keeping it there. Yeah, genuinely crazy. Now, let's analyse these numbers, Could it lose $150 to $200 million? Let's take a look, right? So, Joker Folie Deux was primed to be another twisted comic book smash. No, it wasn't. Instead, the sequel to 2019's billion-dollar hit Joker is a box office disaster. It is indeed a box office disaster. So far, the offbeat musical about Batman's notorious foe has grossed 51.5 domestically, and that's so bad, and 165 million globally after 2 weeks of release. So by comparison, the first Joker had generated 92.2 million domestically and $248.4 million globally after 3 days of release. Yeah. So, Hollywood, how's that going? Sticking it to the chuds, huh? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Also, how's it going finding that mythical modern audience? You found them yet? Or maybe you should start making films to please the majority, yeah? I have absolutely no sympathy for Hollywood anymore. They need to learn that we don't need them. They do actually need us. Stupid morons. Start respecting your audience. So the sequel won't earn anywhere near that much by the end of its theatrical run, with ticket sales projected to stall at a lifetime gross of $65 million domestically and $210 million to $215 million globally when Folie Deux leaves the big screen. So, it says this: that's a huge problem because Joker 2 cost $200 million to produce and roughly $100 million to market and distribute. So that's $300 million. So it's $600 million to break even. That's a lot. So at this rate, the film won't get anywhere close to the, well, they say $450 million needed to break even, but that's not right. I don't understand where they're getting those numbers from, because you average it out at 50%. Theatrical takes, 50%. Although, what they're probably trying to do here is say that the initial percentage that they take from theatres is higher than what it is in its entire theatrical run. So that's why they're minimising it ever so slightly, I would imagine, because obviously when you release a movie in theatres, they have a staggered percentage share of that film's release. So theatres take a certain amount at certain weeks' time, and the studio will take a certain amount at certain weeks' time. So they're saying 450. I would still say 600 million to break even, but okay, that's fine. And it does say this: ticket sales are split between studios and theatre owners. Sources at Warner Brothers say the movie will break even at 375 million. Now that might be, I don't know how they're working that one out. I would imagine this because there's some tax breaks in there somewhere along the line. But I'm not understanding how they think 375 million to break even. That's them trying to save face, I think. So after critics and audiences flat out rejected the big budget tentpole, which received a 33% rotten average on Rotten Tomatoes and a rare D grade on CinemaScore, it's shaping up to be one of this year's biggest catastrophes. And so, Variety has it said that it's going to poise to lose $150 to $200 million in its theatrical run, according to the estimates of insiders, as well as 3 rival executives with knowledge of similar productions. One source speculates the film will end up losing its backers just north of $200 million, whilst another believes the damages may be closer to 125. I would imagine it's a $200 million loss. Easily $200 million loss. Plus, quite frankly, if it tops out where they think it's going to top out, which was... Where did they say? They think it's going to top out at... So, 65 million domestically, 215 globally. So what's that? 280? $280 million. Yeah, I think $200 million is actually still... It's still an estimate on the more sort of tentative side of things. I think it could... Yeah, I think $200 million is an easy estimate of its loss. I think it could lose even more. It will 100% lose about $200 million for Warner Brothers. Just based on what they're saying alone as well. I mean, that's just crazy. $375 million to break even. Nah, that's Warner Brothers' saving phase. $450 million to break even. I still think it needs more than that. So it says this. Any estimates suggested by anonymous insiders or rival executives are grossly wrong and continues a trend where rumour is reported as fact, a Warner Brothers spokesperson said in a statement. The film continues to play on theatrical release, included with this week's opening in China, and will continue to earn revenue throughout its home viewing and ancillary run. Yeah, Warner Brothers, shut up, mate. It's not gonna do well, is it? Because then they even say this: Warner Brothers does have the potential to recoup at least a bit of its investment when Folie lands on home entertainment platforms on October 29th. So yeah, it's gonna go October 29th. Yet its paltry grosses represent a shocking collapse from Joker, which became an unlikely and undisputed box office champion with $333 million in North America and $1.078 billion worldwide. That's just crazy, isn't it? It's madness to me. You absolutely screwed yourself. Absolutely screwed yourself. It says this. If the filmmakers and studio were committed to making a sequel, and why wouldn't they be after the first film made $1 billion, they faced a very difficult challenge of telling a new chapter that kept the audience engaged, says analyst David A. Gross of movie consulting firm Franchise Entertainment Research. Well, you're an idiot. Box office analysts believe that Phillips alienated the DC fanbase by bringing song and dance numbers into the sequel. That will be part of it, yeah. Resulting in the cavernous difference in sales between the first and second Joker entries. While the original was a dark and grisly drama that borrowed from Martin Scorsese's filmography of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, the next chapter plays as a fantasy musical and includes covers of That's Life, Get Happy, and For Once in My Life. The first Joker was a timely, fresh counterpoint to the dominant superhero narrative and tone, and it worked. The filmmakers deserve credit for making more unconventional creative choices in Folie, adding the romantic angle with Lady Gaga, but this time nothing worked. No, they don't deserve credit, because it was an epic failure. This is funny as well. Superheroes used to be able to guarantee some level of opening weekend grosses, but there's no floor anymore. Tolerance for films that are just okay doesn't cut it anymore. No, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't. People are much more discerning about what they spend their money on. I think Hollywood's finally learning that we don't need them and they really do need us. So there you go. $200 million. Yeah, easy. That's an easy loss. $200 million is a safe bet loss for Joker. But in the words of Arthur Fleck, you get what you fucking deserve.